You're not paying me fairly for company use of my vehicle? Okay. I used to work for a Dutch tech company Techco that paid 19 kwart per kilometer when I traveled by my own car to customers. After a year of doing so, I calculated the real car costs. 32 kwart per kilometer. Versus the money I had gotten, and found out I was over 2,000 euros at loss. I did not want to continue like this. Talked to my manager about it and asked for a better compensation deal. But there was no deal to be made. A bigger travel expense was out of the question. There wasn't an alternative form of compensation. No lump sum. Not a newer company phone or laptop. No lease car. Lease cars were only for people who traveled 50,000 km per year or managers. Like my manager. He emailed, "Well, you can borrow my company car between 9 o'clock and 17. When I have no external meetings. Q. Malicious compliance. So I live almost next to big client that I had to visit frequently. My company is an hour away in the other direction. So you probably guessed it. I drove an hour to the office. Got the company car at the earliest possibility and drove an hour back to big client. I left early because I had to turn the car in on time and then drove home again. Did this for a month or two when big client asked why I wasn't there as much as I used to, and I explained the situation. This is when I found out that my manager billed my travel time. 4 hours every visit to big client, so they paid the same and got a lot less value for money. BC boss said he'd make this right. 2 calls later I had an apology. A big bonus for my trouble, and that company car was mine. Manager was moved to another branch because he didn't have clients' best interest at stake. Nice. Our company is the same. They pay a fixed rate per kilometer, and there is no company car for anyone below director level. And no option to rent a car. My coworkers are complaining that, with recent increases in gas prices, they are taking a loss on every trip. I let the office know that I don't own a car and asked if I should hire a cab. 2 hours trip one way. Or take public transit. 5 Riche. Requires overnight stay. I still haven't received an answer, but I'm pretty sure they will find out that company policy can be bent and I'll have a rental car. No idea why my coworkers aren't doing the same instead of grumbling about the low rate per kilometer. I don't know why, but this one is just super satisfying. Maybe because the manager making such short-sighted decisions gets a little taste off the spoon of justice. I had a boss who wanted me to drive 30 miles each way. But this could take 60 to 90 minutes each way during traffic. Once a week to a satellite office. They told me to do this over my lunch hour. I said that I'd be happy to go if they paid for my train and cab fare, and explained that the city I worked in wasn't the 15-minute drive they seemed to think, and 2, I don't own a car. Suddenly it wasn't important for me to make that trip. Well done. The 19 CTS per kilometer is absolutely ridiculous. But somehow still the maximum that companies are allowed to reimburse tax-free. It didn't cover the costs in 2006, when this amount was set and gas was at 1.31 L. And it surely doesn't now, at 1.93 L. Fortunately, next year this will be fixed by raising the amount to a whopping 21 CTS per kilometer. That's only 7 cents short of the actual fuel price change and still doesn't help cover wear and tear. I had similar issues about using my own car. I simply stopped volunteering the use of my car, which meant the company had to provide me with a hire car when I needed to travel. As far as I was concerned, this was altogether easier. The company paid for the hire car and the fuel that went in it. There was no worrying about how many miles I had done or depreciation from extra miles on my car. Looks like manager FOAFO. Manager was moved to another branch because he didn't have clients' best interest at stake. Should have been fired at that point. I mean, if the company has determined that he was serving himself and not the client, why keep him in the company at all?
Love it.
Everyone made big money from the 19 quart per kilometer rule. It was far more lucrative than company cars when it was still allowed. So you were doing something terribly wrong. 19 quart per kilometer really sucks. My old job paid 65, new job is paying 90. Pretty stoked about that.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.